Hi, welcome to Kaijo Tutorials. So we are going to continue the software to ML 365 challenge. In today's video, we will start day 1. In this video, we are going to find a data set from Kaggle, and that data set will be used as a CSV. We'll use a hematology data set, and what we'll do, we will look at how do we add this data, this CSV, to the Google Drive, read from the Google Drive, and be able to perform simple tasks such as summing, describing the data, finding the mean, getting specific columns, etc. in today's video. Please join me as we continue this challenge, or better yet, as we start this 365 challenge. Okay, let's get started. So we are going to use this dataset from Kaggle.com dataset. I will have the link to the dataset inside the code and also inside the description. So this is a CSV that has data readings, hematology readings. So it's looking at the makeup and concentration of the different types, components or properties in the blood, for example, hemoglobins. So we're going to use this data set and do a series of tasks over the next few days. In this video, we're just primarily focusing on importing it to our Google Drive. So what I have done first is, first I have a Kaggle account. Then I download the CSV. Then I added it to my Google Drive. Once you add it to your Google Drive, you right click on the file. Then you will say share. Then you will select the option to share with anyone who has the link, so that it's accessible, so that when we retrieve this data, we can see it inside of our Google Colab. You can also use the notebook and other forms, but I just choose to use the Google Colab because it doesn't require any setup and there's a free version. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. We're going to start first by going and downloading or installing actually the necessary library, so that we are able to read from the database, not the database, from the drive. So I'm just going to add a little note. So library to import data from Google Drive. So what we're going to say, if we want to do an installation inside of Google Colab, we have to say, use the exclamation mark, and we'll say pip install -u -q PyDrive. This is a library that will allow us to interact with the Google Drive, with our own Google Drive. So this is now installing. Okay, now that it has run, what we're going to do, we're going to import a series of libraries. We're going to import a series of classes inside of this library which will need to interact with our file. So we'll say PyDrive.auth. So this is because we want to authenticate against our Google Drive and give permission to the Google Drive. Import Google auth. Next, we're going to import, so from, we'll say PyDrive dot drive import Google Drive. Okay. Next, we're going to say from Google Colab. Since we're inside the Google Colab, we're going to import auth. Next, we're going to say from OAuth to client dot client. We're going to import the Google credentials. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we need to authenticate and create the Pi Drive client. So let's make a note. So authenticate and create the Pi Drive client. Auth.authenticate _ user. Then we'll need to let's create a variable called gauth, which will store the Google authentication, Google auth. Then we'll say gauth. I mean, it seems like a lot, but it works out in the end. Credentials, Google credentials dot get application default. The last line that we'll need for the Pi Drive is drive, and then we'll say Google Drive, and we'll pass the authentication inside of it, gauth. So let's see. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to run these lines. So now it's asking to allow Google, the notebook to be able to access our Google credentials. So we'll say allow. Then we will select our Google account. Oh, we made a mistake. So this shouldn't be a minus sign. This should be an equal. So let's do this again. Okay, now it works. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and get to the fun stuff. So what we're going to do, we're going to import pandas. So let's create another block. I like to put my code in blocks so it's easier to read. Import pandas as PD. Let's just import this. Then what we're going to do, we're going to have two variables. So the first one will be the file name. And what you'll do, you'll put whatever your URL is in here. Sorry, file link. So file name is where you're going to put the name of the file, whatever the name of the file is. We'll need a next one called file link, and this will have the URL. So in our case, this is the link. So I'm going to add a link, my own link, but you'll have your own personalized link. This link won't be available after this video is created. We're going to say training _ set.csv. Okay, now to find the file, we're going to need to get the ID part of the file. So we're going to say ID equal file link _ link dot split trying to find the file -2. So what we're going to do now is download. So we're going to call a drive and say create file where the IT let's scroll down. ID equal to ID. So downloaded, actually let's call this downloaded instead. So downloaded dot get content. So we want to get the content of the file. So we're telling it to get the contents of this file, whatever file has this particular name. In our case, training set.csv. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take this data and read it as a CSV. So we're going to call this schema underscore CSV equal, and we're going to call pandas dot read underscore CSV and the file name. So if we do everything correctly, what should show up now is whatever is inside the file. So let's run it. Okay, something is wrong. No such file. So after investigating the error a bit further, apparently I made a typo inside of this block. So please review this carefully in terms of the libraries and so that I've imported from the PyAuth, Drive, Colab, client, etc. Just review this section and make sure that you have exactly what I have. So when you run it, as you see, it's successful there. And now when I decide to run the file here, it will work as well. Okay, so now that we have that issue sorted, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and look at what is inside of this file. So we will open a new code block, and inside this code block we're going to say schema underscore CSV, and we're going to run this block. And as you can see here, we have 33,009 rows, 11 columns. So for this one, we're going to focus on the hemoglobins. Doesn't matter what we're using, it's just that I'm decided to use this particular data set. Hemoglobins are the set of properties inside of the blood that is used to carry oxygen. So we'll be focusing on, in this episode, the hemoglobins and the sex or the gender. In future episodes, we'll go a bit deeper to analyze the data a bit more. Okay, so now that we can see what's inside there, let's describe the data that's there. So the beautiful thing about Pandas is that it gives you the ability to describe your data. So schema CSV dot describe, it will give you an analysis as to what it found within the data set. So as you can see, the count, the mean, standard, minimum, what is in the first 25%, what's the maximum, etc. So describe the data. There's also other functions that you could use that will give you the ability to describe information. So that would be info. Alright, so now that we have looked at what's there, let's try to see what is the number of rows. Let's see if we get the same amount of rows as outlined above. So it's just, in order to get the number of rows, we'll say len for length, and then we will call the schema underscore CSV, and we should get 3,309. Good. So now let's try to get the column names. So if we would like to get the column names, we'll just say hema or the name of the variable that is holding the CSV dot columns, and that will give you the column names. If we go, say we want the sum of a particular column, what we'll do, we'll use similar to array. We'll say hema underscore CSV, then we will call the column that we are looking for. Let's get the hemoglobin column and say we would like to do the sum. So we would like to find the sum of all the hemoglobins. So sum, and we have gotten the sum here. What if we want to do the median? Similar to above. All we'll need to do, let me just copy this section. So if we like the median, we'll just call the hema and the particular column that would like, and we'll say median. So the median is 12.9, and if you would like to find a minimum, similarly, we will say dot min, and you will get the minimum, and similar if you want the maximum, etc. Now, what if you would like to find out the number of patients that are male or female? So we're going to first get the total population. So let's just say total population. We're going to do that to verify to see if everything adds up. So total population len dot hema. That's okay. So if we run this one, what we'll see now is that, well, you're not going to see anything because it's inside of a variable and we have not called a variable. Okay, so in order to show this, we'll say print and then f, then the string. So this will allow us to put a message and add the dynamic value inside of the message. So we'll say population, then open bracket, close bracket, and we call total population. Okay, so the total population is 3,309. So we'll like to find the number of male in the population. So how might we do this? So what we'll do, we'll say hema underscore CSV. Then what we will say is we'll create a sub query. So we'll call hema again. And we want to find the column. This particular column that we're looking for is the sex. So sex, and we'll say we want to find only the records that is equal to male. Now let's see. So inside of the CSV, they use F for female, M for male. So what I'm going to say here is equal to M. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this inside of a length because we need the number. So let's put a printf, a print, and then F, and we'll say male. Open bracket, close bracket, num male. As you see, 1,743. And we're going to do the same thing for female. So num female. So we're going to say len Then we're going to call the variable that's storing the CSV or the object. Then we're going to say HEMA underscore CSV, and we would like the sex again, where it's equal to F. So I'm going to print the number of female. So female, open bracket, close bracket, num of female. Okay, let's run this. Okay, so you can see here that we have 1,743 male, 1,566 female. So that's it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to dive a bit deeper into this particular CSV. We'll look at things like, how do we know if the hemoglobin count is normal, healthy, and get a little bit more insight into the data. In this episode, we looked at how to import the data and how to start manipulating this data. Please join me in this journey and this 365 journey. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.